Could you tell us about what iVP Semiconductors is? What was it initiated for? Yes.
Okay. So iVP Semiconductor is a fabless power semiconductor company. So we focus on power device manufacturing, right? So how it works is we either create or license IP for power devices such as MOSFETs, IGBTs, and silicon carbide. And then we use our partner foundries to manufacture them. So it becomes a truly Indian power semiconductor product. So there are two ways we will basically go to market with it. One is to create discrete components as a component business. Second is we are doing high current and high power integrated power modules. So these are the two ways we want to go to market, because today EVs and renewable energy, they are going into very high current applications. So India currently doesn't have tool sets to make such high current products. Using PCBs and metal core PCBs is not a reliable solution. So we are looking at some patented thermal stacks that basically uses the power semiconductor very efficiently, right, and give you the small form factor, weight, and reliability. So this is what our current focus.
You yourself mentioned that India is not currently focusing on the kind of modules. So it's a very bold move that you are making into this market. So what kind of customers, like there's an already established, procedure protocol, and Indians are very hesitant to change. So how are you approaching that market?
Sure. So when people think about power electronics, they think about MOSFETs, IGBTs, and all the stuff. But if you really look at it, about 80% of the design is mechanical or thermal. So we're focusing on that aspect. So it reduces the amount of silicon or silicon carbide needed to deliver a function, right? Also, if you build these very high current products on PCBs and metal core PCBs, because current densities in those traces and is very large, right? So that leads to early failures. All the EVs we are seeing in the market today are maybe like less than 2 years old. So as the time goes, the ambient temperatures are rising. So you can expect some early failures. There is a large current densities in those very thin copper traces. So we are trying to rectify all those through innovative solutions. Also optimize the thermal stack performance. So we can use almost 1/3 the MOSFETs or IGBTs that are used in current market designs. So that reduces the cost. Also by increasing the copper trace thicknesses and all through our patented, we can drastically reduce the current density in the copper terminals. So that improves the reliability. Another very good important aspect is, I'll take the example of EVs because everybody understands, is a cyclic load. For example, you drive on the road either in Bangalore or Chennai, or it's a stop and go. So you have a very large temperature ripple on the chip size, right? So what it does is you have a number of layers in the thermal stack, like a silicon chip, solder, copper, and plastics and all this stuff. They expand and contract at a different rate. So if you have a large ripple temperature, so the expansion contraction will eventually cause failures. This has been studied by us in my previous companies and all this stuff, right? What it does is it will reduce the life of the product. Early failures, basically fatigue due to the temperature ripple. So by reducing the ripple, we can extend the life of the product. That can be done using large amount of metal under the chips, right? That cannot be done in PCBs and metal core PCBs. So we have a patented way of doing this, and it also is very suitable for manufacturing in India without depending on imported ceramic substrates.
What is the current target customer market for you?
See, like I said, we have two ways of going to market. One is the discrete components, That is any customer that is doing anything for electronics, right? TV220s, TOLLs and discrete components. That is our target market. It's basically an opportunistic market where we can penetrate. We'll do that. More strategic is the integrated power modules. You can see there are a lot of the EV components today are imported. So we're looking at a local designed and manufactured with superior performance, maybe at a equitable pricing, right? This is also our tactical market, but our strategic market is like go to renewable energy, energy storage, right? Then you have solar pumps, air conditioners, which need electronics localization. So we are looking at all these markets.
How do you differentiate yourself from the already established global players? So right now, if anybody needs the devices, they can approach. So how do you differentiate yourself?
Sure. For example, let's leave the discrete part aside for a minute. That's a very like a stock market up and down, and we'll play there because we are partners with global companies that are trying to enter market, but they don't have a way to address Indian market. We'll create them a customer base, and then eventually, I think in 3 years, we will have our own IP for these products. We will do foundry model. So this will be locally designed and fabricated in a foundry. But there also we're looking at application-specific MOSFETs or IGBTs. Not if you want to buy a MOSFET today, it's a general-purpose MOSFET. You may not be using at those frequencies or voltages. So we look at the application and say, okay, this is the key parameters for this, so that we can bring the most cost and performance optimized devices. That's how we want to position ourselves. In terms of integrated modules, for example, our EVs use 48 volt. There are not many 100 volt modules available in the market globally. Even if they do, they are quite expensive for Indian price point. So, like I said, we have a patent that lets us localize almost 100% besides silicon. So we are basically creating a supply chain in and around Bangalore, maybe in Tamil Nadu, right? Hyper localization. So what it does is it gives us locally developed products which are cost advantage. It also gives a lot of the other ancillary industries. They are not today visible to gain market share. So we are working with them. We hold their hands. We are already developing some of those type of components like thermal interface materials, molding compounds, and all those things, right? So we not only grow ourselves, we make our supplier also benefit from this semiconductor wave, right? So that's what we are trying to do.
So what kind of challenges does your engineering team face when trying to keep up with these rapid technological advancements in this? Because you yourself said the kind of applications that semiconductors are going, we have AI, artificial intelligence, so much data, so much processing. So how are you keeping up with that challenge?
Sure. Like I said, the design environment in India is not so mature like in international things. Like I alluded in my speech, people tend to work in their own silos. Electrical guy does electrical, mechanical guy does this thing. So we're trying to change that. Because if they don't know the cross-functional fundamentals, you will not get the optimized design. Because otherwise, the electrical guy says, I need 10 MOSFETs, the mechanical guy puts it in a big box and stuff like that. But the electrical guy knows that there could be a thermal optimization that makes him use instead of 10, 4. The design can be. So we put everybody in the same room, let them talk to each other, all this stuff, right?
But doesn't that make the design and development process longer and more tedious? Because what you're talking about is actually changing the entire way Indian industry functions, and that starts in college.
Yes, that's true. We basically have very good skilled engineers, fortunately we can get. I agree with you, but that is true with the first product. We also have more manufacturing partner working with us from the first prototype. So we know what are the challenges manufacturing guy faces if we just throw a design to him and ask him to make it. So we look at their capabilities, we work with them, take their suggestions. So this is how you short circuit the process. Otherwise you design and you throw it to the manufacturing guy. He says, I don't have machines for this, or it doesn't work, it costs a lot more. So you make them your partner from the beginning. I agree with you that it will take longer, but for the first one. Once my team understands how to work, and then manufacturing guy knows what kind of products or technologies we want. So second, third, fourth products will roll out automatically, right? Without manufacturing picks happen at the end, right? So this is how we are setting up.
Throughout this conversation, you mentioned a lot about partners. So, what kind of partners do you have currently? And are there any partners in distributors, be it anybody in the who will add value to your manufacturing process? Are there any in that process?
Sure.
So, would you want to meet them? What kind of people are you looking for? Could you shed some light?
Sure. See, when you build a system, it has a lot more components, right? Of course, India doesn't have silicon ecosystem, but people who make, let's say, shunt resistors, when you talk about shunt, the popular German company comes to your mind, right? But you'll be surprised, there are so many Indian companies doing automotive qualified shunts, thermal temperature sensors, right? Copper bus bars or lead frames and all that stuff. Then there are certain research organizations or startups looking at making thermal interface materials and stuff, right? High performance thermal interface materials. So also the manufacturing partner, we have a manufacturing partner, the NPD specialized manufacturing partner. So we are working with all of these companies. For example, thermal interface material, they are not ready. We are using what is globally available. We are helping them understand what we want. So they keep coming back to us with the different versions of it. We evaluate and say, okay, it's better than last one, things like that, right? So we are basically grooming them to be our supply chain partners, right? So that way, maybe I'm hopeful that in next 2 to 3 years, we will have our own devices, silicon and silicon carbide, and we have our own supply chain partners within 100-kilometer radius. Right? It can't be more hyper-local than.
Where is this whole ecosystem going to be located? In Tamil Nadu or in Bangalore, Karnataka? Where?
We want it to be as hyper-local as possible, but we are not putting a boundary, right? So, because if the company is already existing and they need us to improve their product and be able to supply us, we are working with them.
Are you also hiring any new recruits? What kind of technical skills do you look for in your engineering team?
Yes, we are recruiting because we are a new company, started with a nucleus, right? So, what we are trying to do is try to get the good, cognitive, intelligent people at the top, right? With different functions like electrical design, package design, quality and reliability. So we want them to build their own teams, organically grow, right? As we move up, we want to fill the bottom so that the people move up, right? So also we are recruiting when the good skilled person is available, not when we want. See, we are a product company. Of course, circuit design for power electronics is important. That's where the whole thing starts, right? We want people who can be free thinkers. See, skill or knowledge is available on Google and all the stuff, right? But as a person working in our organization, we want them to be free thinkers. Hey, what if I do like this? Validate those ideas, right? Improve the designs. So, but we are also looking for like traditional resources like electrical design, packaging design, testing is also important. and field application engineers, basically who takes our product to the customer and make sure that it's a product fit, right? Also give the feedback to us, say, okay, I'm seeing 10 customers asking for it. How can we support? Can we do a new product, right? So this is traditional skill functions, but we are looking for people who are free thinkers, right? So that they bring the new ideas and energies to us, right? Like you said, how do we compete with global? By not doing what they have done, by doing what we need to do for the Indian market is where I think we can be competitive.
Anything you'd like to add to your future goals and aspirations as a company?
Sure. So uh, it's truly a first power semiconductor company in India, right? We want to set a benchmark for others to follow. Because market is big enough. It's not about competing. If somebody else can do similar thing, and maybe we can tap their skill sets and supply chains, right? So we want to grow along with our partners because we can't do without them, right? And we also want to set an example for people who follow us so that they can have a easier path to fulfilling their dreams and all that stuff, right?
All right. Thank you so much, Vijay.
you.
Thank you for your